Hey guys, this is Big Man Star 87 of the Nerd Herd, and if you're not smart enough to read the title, I'm teaching you how to make that great intro you just saw at the beginning of this video. So, I'll have the link to download the file, these Photoshop layers right here. I'll have a link for that in the description. I'll have a link for everything I use in the description, but basically it's just going to be these Photoshop layers. So what you want to do is go up to Composition, New Composition. You want 1920 by 1080, which is 16:9 for those of you that don't know anything. Background color, you can just leave it black for now, and then hit OK. And then what we're going to do is we're going to import these layers in let me see, is this the right one? The right nope, it's not. Okay, we'll just to import these layers, you don't need that bottom one. That's the text at the top, and we don't want that. And that's not supposed to happen. Boop. And nope, it's still saying screw you. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna shrink this down until this wing up here, the Wings of Freedom from Attack on Titan, take up pretty much the whole screen. Okay, there you go. Now the first layer, which would be the lambda or lambada, whatever it is. I always forget if it's lambda or lambada. I'm pretty sure, like 99.9% sure it's lambda. So I just looked it up. It's lambda. Oh, the lightsaber's not in the right spot. Okay, that's not supposed to happen. There we go. Okay, so you want it in this order: 3 on the bottom, 7 next, 2, 6, 5. 5 is the lambda, 6 is the stinging Star Trek thing. 2 is, if I got this right, let me make sure. No, that's the stinging Star Trek thing. Okay. So you want 2, yeah, no, I lied. You want 2 actually on the bottom of that. And then you want the lightsaber and sonic screwdriver. It doesn't exactly matter. Actually, now that I think of it, this is also supposed to be down here. Okay. So, this is basically a beginner's thing, obviously. I mean, if you've used After Effects for a while, you know how to do this. So what you want to do is extend these out. I did mine about 1.5 seconds. So actually, I lied. Here we want this. I lied. Okay. Okay. And we want this one to actually start out super small. I made it pretty much as small as it could get, well, with me still being able to see it pretty well. And move it up a little bit. And then you want to come down here, click this down arrow here, the down arrow by transform, and you want position and scale to be marked for the checkpoint or whatever you want to call those. And then bring it right up to about here. I'd say maybe a few decimals of a second before that. And then you want to move this and make it the size it was before that. Okay, and really I just did this the most impractical way possible. I'll make sure to tell you guys the most practical way to do that with the next few things. And you put that there, okay? And then we go on to the Star Trek thing.
Sorry that I am not a true nerd and I do not know what that thing is called. That's in there for Brock. So you take that, and the way I have it is I kind of have it floating in there as if it were a spaceship, because it's kind of spaceship shaped. I don't care whether it's supposed to be a spaceship or not. So we'll have it here, and for this one you just need to mark position. And then scroll forward up to about here, and I have it so that this tip is right inside where the 2 legs of the lambda come together. Or as close as you can get to that, at least. I mean, it's not a huge deal. Okay? next we move on to the, I believe that's the lightsaber. And I was correct. The way I have this set up is, we want to come out here, position, and mark that, and then come back here. And actually, for this one, you want it to come in fast. So we want this here, actually. And then move it out like that. I had it so that the line is lined up with the lightsaber. That's a pretty easy way to keep it at that specific angle for my purposes. Obviously, you're not going to be trying to copy this, at least, I mean, I don't think you are. Okay, so there's that. And then, since that came in so fast, we want this to come in a little sooner so that we're not sitting there with nothing happening. That would be a boring intro. And we have the sonic screwdriver next. So we move this up to about here. And we go and mark the position again. There's a lot of position marking. Position, and come back here to where it starts to come in. And same with this. Have it, no, I lied. Just come out here toward the corner. And then it scoots in.
Okay, next, what we want to do is, after a few seconds of staring at that gloriousness, what you want to do is actually, you know what, well, I know this is a bit late to change stuff in the game, but I lied. The lambda goes on top. I forgot how my own intro went. So yay for preparedness. Okay. And now, did I really just put the wrong layer on top? No, I did not. Yes, I did. No, I didn't. Okay. Now, after a few seconds, what you want to do is come up here to this button that says Effects and Presets. And actually, first, what you want to do is pre-compose these. This button right here, once you highlight them all and right-click, pre-compose. Pre-comp, since this is already a file that I've done stuff with, it says pre-comp 3, but yours will say pre-comp 1. You pre-compose it, and then what you want to do is come up here for that cool brick effect, effects and presets, and search shatter. And then you take this and you click it and drag it. If it'll click and drag, or it's gonna be lame. Oh, whoops, wrong tool. You want to come up here, make sure you have the selection tool, and then you click and you drag and plop it right on top of pre-comp 3. And then you get this funny looking thing. If you come up here, it says wireframes plus forces. Up here by view, what you want to do is click rendered, and then let it render for a sec. Okay. Now, right now it's all blocked, but that's because of a thing I have set. What you want to do is come down here to this drop down arrow, click effects, shatter, force 1 and force 2 is what we're going to be changing. And what we want is depth to change, and that'll change the size of the explosion. Okay. And we can mark that so that it'll be gone, and then we want the explosion to start, and we'll say 5.5 seconds. And so what we do then is take it back all the way up, and as you can see, it's showing us that simulation slowly of the bricks exploding, and we just want it all to go. So we want it wider radius, and then you can see that sort of coming together there. Okay. Radius we want marked here as 0. There we go. And then we go boom, and we got that cool shattering effect there. So the trick to the black background is making the background black. But first, this one has to have its own background. So, comp 2. Okay, so what we want to do for that is come into up here and click layer, new, solid. And we want white solid. For this, I honestly just grabbed the color picker and got the color of the font for OK from the OK button. And you want that to make sure that's under so that you can still see that. And then once that all shatters, you'll want to make sure you have a black background set. So you need the white background to shatter as well. I forgot to mention that. Sorry, guys. Okay, so you come up here, force 1. Rendered. Force 1. We want to come back here to where it all starts. And we want to mark these and make them super tiny so that you can't see it anymore. And come back up to where the explosion starts and make it start exploding there. And widen the radius so that when we come back here, we mark it with 0 until you can't see it. And then as you slide on, it should explode. Now, if you want to make it go all the way, obviously all you need to do is make the radius larger where you marked it. So back here where we marked it, and we'll make it that size. So then we go and keep making it larger and larger until it covers that whole area you want covered. So we come back here, there's nothing, and then boom, there's something. Okay, so as you can see, we still have a couple bricks left. It's not a huge deal unless you're an OCD person, like Brock. Okay, so what we do now is up to layer again, new, solid, and what I did after that, black background. And we want that under the white solid. And so then, you know what, I need to get rid of that one brick. It's a bit annoying. Okay, and then as we come up here, it should explode. Yep, perfect. Okay, so then what we do is grab our text tool up here, and I will also include a link to the font Minecrafter, and I have this sort of dirty orange color. And so we'll go into where we can start seeing it with no bricks or anything in the way, just so that we can have a clear workspace. Okay, and our channel name, The Nerd Herd, with this on the bottom. There we go, and then center this by eye. So then you come back up here to the selector tool. Center that. I do it by eye. I'm sure After Effects has 10 times more accurate ways, but for our purposes, it's not a huge deal that it's perfectly centered. Just for OCD purposes, really. And there we go. We got the Nerd Herd. Now what you want to do here is you want to come down here, and if you look at these, you have adjustment layer, motion blur, and 3D layer. You want to click the one under the cube that says 3D layer. Click that. We now have 3D text, but if you look, there is no pop to it. There's no third dimension really at this point. So to get that whole effect, you click the drop down arrow and you go to geometry options. Now what you want to up there to get more depth is extrusion depth. And then the more you do that, you'll see when we turn the camera, the more depth there is there, I guess. Let it all render. Okay, and that, as you can see, that looks a bit too bulky. So I have mine set at 37 right now. You can set yours to whatever you want, obviously. So you come up here to layer, you go to new, and you select camera. Leave it at the default settings. It'll work. If you know what you're doing, then you can change it as you need it, obviously, but for our purposes, we'll just leave it at the default. And now if we click, we can spin around and look at our fancy new 3D text. So we'll give that a second to render. And there you go. There's your fancy 3D text. Now in our logo, it shakes around like this and kind of goes all over the place. If you want to do that, all you got to do is come down here to the drop down arrow, transform, and click position. And all you got to do is move it around like that. go over here, move it around a bit, wherever you want it. Now, what you want to do is you want to come up here to layer, new light. I have mine set to spotlight with its sort of warm yellow, I guess you could call it, darker yellow, and you want to hit OK, I guess, and just leave it at the defaults, and you can reposition this. Now it'll render and you'll see there's a huge difference. That's why it looks so dark in the video. So we want to grab your selector tool, and you can move this thing around. You can make it bigger, smaller, whatever you want. Move this along the x-axis. I had mine off here to the side and then angled like this. A little bigger. Just let it render. And there we go. That's the basic gist of it. I mean, you can adjust it to your liking, but this is basically what I did. I mean, I obviously spent a lot more time, but for the purposes of this video and keeping it short, I just accidentally selected the entire composition. For the purposes of this video and keeping it short, I'll just leave it at that. So, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for us. Share us on your MySpace or whatever you kids use these days. Oh yeah, a new schedule thing. We got another person in the Nerd Herd. He'll kind of be the odd one out because he's not in any of the banners or anything. He'll be uploading on Sundays, but the group thing will still be going on Saturdays. So it'll just be 1 day a week as opposed to 2. Also, don't forget, I'm getting a new microphone soon, so the audio quality will go up by 10 times probably. So yeah, again, thanks for watching so much. Make sure to subscribe if you're not already, like, share us around, spread us like a disease, spread us like we're cancer. And, yeah, bye.
Hey guys!
When you burn someone so hard.
The second channel on the video.
Fandoms and fans within that fandom.